Oh, I love working on ano kasi, on new materials, being a pioneer, for that material, having to create the character together with the entire production. Kasi the discovery is it's a wonderful journey eh. So essentially, storyteller eh. I'm a storyteller eh. So I love to tell the story of that character.
To me, a high note was always catalyst. Kailangan ko maglabas ng sama ng loob. Titili ako. And yun yung association sa akin. And go! Pag high note, ang ano sa akin, the energy, it's emotional. And it would manifest physically. And then I have my high note.
I always see like a journey of an actor in the theater industry is continuous. I don't think it ever ends after one production. You also build connections. You build friendships. You build friendships that last a lifetime. So the way I deal with actors, especially I deal a lot with students. I always think to myself, okay, I am the first gatekeeper that these people are going to meet, probably. So I want them to, number one, be welcome, that we are not an exclusive society.
You know how I wish I was a musical theater performer. My dream was to sing and dance on stage. Which I could not do in opera. In opera kasi it's about the singing. Okay, if you were to ask me what's the main difference between opera singers and musical theater singers, opera singers are singers who can act, and musical theater singers are actors who can sing.
I was a filmmaker, in fact. And, pero mahilig kumanta. And so, I had a small band, ganyan, we would do gigs. In one of those gigs, I was discovered by Freddy Santos. And then he was doing Joseph the Dreamer at that time. He offered me the role of Mama. He created the role of Mama for me. And that started it. So I started with trumpets. Nag-umpisa ako sa trumpets. Even like I said, I was doing commercials then, no? Being a producer of commercials. I did a lot of TV commercials also. So I had a bit of acting there. So medyo marunong ako doon. But yes, there was an adjustment talaga. I didn't know anything about theater then.
My mom and my dad were members of the Opera Chorus of the Philippines. And so I was named after Camille from La Dame of the Camillas. And so as part of the Opera Chorus of the Philippines, they would need children for productions. Yeah, and so my mom and my dad would include me and my sisters. Doon sa production sila. And then my mom would take me to all the lessons where she would accompany. And so I met all the singers of the day. Yeah, all of them in their heyday. Even, as a child, I would listen to them live. Well, because of my growing up years at the Met, where I observed everything that was happening during a production, from musical rehearsals to the stage rehearsals to press, everything.
I started it on a dare. I literally started it on a dare. I had a friend in college. We had a sign up for Ateneo Blue Repertory. It was recruitment week in Ateneo. And my friend goes, I dare you to sign up. I was a sophomore in college and I go, what's this? And he goes, it's called musical theater. And I go, okay. And that's the only thing he knew. He knew I could sing, and that was basically it. That was everything he knew. And because of that, I started there and I fell in love with it. after my very first rehearsal that apparently you can sing songs with stories. I did not know that. So that was a great thing for me. And then I kept trying to audition. I kept um, trying to work in different as many companies as I can, and here we are. My very first one, I played a caterpillar actually for this book by Trina Paulus called Hope for the Flowers. The late Ariel Escasa was the one who wrote the music, and yeah, I got to play Stripe there. And I also did High School Musical under Chari Arespacochaga. But my very first professional role in theater was Juan in Altar Boys. And then I played other roles such as Shasta from The Horse and His Boy under Jaime Del Mundo, and The Graduate as well under Jaime Del Mundo. And with Dexter Santos, I did Ang Huling El Bimbo. And Danny Girl, I also played this archangel named Raph in Danny Girl for Sandbox Collective.
My first formal training really started in college. Before college, it was all choirs, singing in the church. So I learned everything in college while I was at the UST, Conservatory of Music. And I had one teacher, Gloria Coronel. So she taught me the techniques, the repertoire, and she guided me through it. I did my first professional opera while I was still studying under her. So I guess she prepared me for my first operatic role.
Still, so far, I think the only Filipino actor who's worked at the National Theatre. How did you do that? As Bloody Mary in the production of South Pacific.
Yeah, that's quite a Cinderella kind of story. Kasi andito lang naman ako sa Pilipinas, ganyan. But I had done a musical in Singapore at that time.
Singapore.
Sa Singapore, it was called Changaneng. It was about the Siamese twins,
Changaneng.
no? And we worked with a lot of Australians there. So the casting director of the Australian team, or the Australian cast, was John Robertson, who happens to be the parang casting arm of the Saigon team here in Asia Pacific. And after my gig there, siguro about a month, nakauwi na ako dito. A month after that, he gave me a call and said that, they're casting for Bloody Mary at the National. And can I send my resume? Can I send a tape of my singing voice? Parang hindi totoo. Totoo ba to? Is this for real? Anyway, at that time, Junix Inoshan was here, and he was based already in London then, but he was visiting. So when I told him about it, he said, well, give me your cassette tape, give me your resume. He was leaving in about a few days then. So he hand-carried my resume and my tape to Trevor Nunn, essentially. And that was it. They called me as soon as Trevor Nunn heard my voice, look for this girl. And they did. They got in touch with me. The National Theatre got in touch with me. My concept of Bloody Mary was very different from how I played her. In my mind kasi, as a young girl, ganyan, Bloody Mary is this funny looking woman who just wants her daughter to be married. Ganyan lang. But what I learned about her is her desperation, her love for her daughter, and the desperation to make sure that she has a good life, a better life than she did. I didn't know that then, but in my discovery of who she was and the things that she has been doing, it was all for the love of her daughter. Even if she had to sell everything just so that she has a better life with this man, supposedly. It was funny when you would have sessions kasi with Trevor Nunn, you'd have
Wow.
sessions with him
Yeah.
for your scenes, no? So I remember having my sessions with him, with Cable, the actor who played Cable, and la la la. So I had about 3 sessions with him, and
Mhm.
then that was it. And then we went full on sa rehearsals with everybody. What I didn't know is that my co-actors, Philip Quast and Lauren Kennedy, ganyan, they had more sessions with him. So sabi ko, sandali, na-insecure ata ako ah.
Uh-huh.
Baka I'm doing something wrong, and I didn't know. I was insecure. I really didn't know. Anyway, after we had opened, after we had, he called me and he said, um, you must be wondering why we didn't have that many sessions together. And I
Uh-huh.
said, yes, I didn't know. And then he said, because he said, and that was when I know something, you have instincts, Sheila. You have very good instincts. And I didn't want to to touch it anymore. You were going the right way. I didn't want to touch it. So when he said that, I thought to myself, I should keep that with me. My instinct as an actor, or I mean, you, because there are actors who are, I noticed, who are so insecure, so they would ask the director every single time about every single facet and of their character. No? And I said that I should trust that. I learned to trust that, and that's something I think that's really big that I've learned about myself, is to trust my instincts about characters that I play.
After that, you did the Empress in Singapore also.
Yes. So I got the part naman. I was still in London for the end part of South Pacific. There was a big audition for a musical daw in Singapore. So I went, ganyan. And then I bagged the title role of the Empress Dowager. Yeah, that was quite an experience. Kasi first they offered it to me. So, okay. And then after a few months, I wasn't hearing anything from them. No, anyway, I learned that I did, they decided to use an American, a Chinese lady to play the part instead. So, okay. But as they were rehearsing, ganyan, biglang tumawag sa akin ng SRT. Would you consider coming to study the Empress, because the lady who plays it is medyo matured na, so she might need an understudy. So I said, okay, I'll understudy. So I did. I was part of the chorus. She was doing her Empress. And then she got sick one Saturday afternoon for rehearsal. So I stepped in and I was ready. I never had any rehearsal as an Empress. But like I said, I'm an observer. I observe well. I study my role. So I stepped in. And I stepped in for that rehearsal. And then suddenly I was elevated to an alternate. I got shows for that, and the
Okay.
musical was
Okay.
done many years again, and they got me as the Empress again. Babaliw sa tuwing naalala ang init. Di malimutan, kailangan muling makamit ang tamis sa aking mga labi. Halika, tikman ang langit. Halika, tikman ang langit. Oh, that's something. Oh, I love working on kasi, on nung materials, being a pioneer, for that material, having to create the character together with the entire production. Kasi the discovery is such a it's a wonderful journey eh. So essentially storyteller eh. I'm a storyteller eh. So I love to tell the story of that character. I love to ride with the vision of the director. So if it's a new like El Bimbo, no? Ang huling El Bimbo. This was a new material, a new story never done before. So that journey to me is even more exciting than the performance itself. Ganon, the looking for the new ones, the development of the character, yun yung na-excite ako mo for something lang. I'm very passionate about that. So I love working on original materials. Sa tingin ko si Chadeli, which I shared during the concert, no, maraming parallel sa amin ni Chadeli eh. Kasi, you know, she had a restaurant, Sheila Francisco had a restaurant before. We both love to cook. She didn't have any children. I don't have children. But I do have a lot of anak-anakan. Marami akong anak-anakan na babae. So, naintindihan ko yung pagmamahal ni Chadeli. Naintindihan ko rin na yung hirap na dinaanan niyan. I get it. So, I relate with that.
It's ang pagpatay kay Luna. Was
Luna.
Yes, that's the one.
Oo, Luna. Ano yung song ko? Basta I remember.
So difficult because I was wondering.
I have
yes.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was. And I sang it one octave higher.
Oh, okay.
Lalo na towards the end. So I said, no, the mother's passion has to be felt. So I took it, an octave higher.
Okay.
And it worked. It worked for the role. Siguro pinaka nahirapan ako, direct, was when I played Violet sa August Osage County. Kasi ibang klase. She was a very complicated woman, no? And also maraming bitterness, maraming pain na dinaanan. So that was difficult to zero into. But I love doing it because it challenges me. It takes you to a dark space. It has to take you to a dark space to understand and not judge the character. So yeah, those complicated, quirky characters are more delicious to to handle and travel with. And you know, when I do a straight play, parang iba naman yon. Iba, something else works eh. Kasi sa musical, you have the music to help you with the emotion, diba? But here you have the words that and every ewan ko, it's just parang it's a blessing for your soul. Parang you have to dig in deeper. You have to dig in deeper sa puso mo for the character to come alive and to help push the story. So yeah, it's a different, beautiful experience doing a straight play. It's more challenging, I think, than doing a musical for me. What's constant is really discipline, direct, ganon. First of all, talaga, yung discipline of being present during rehearsal. I'm very different, I think, from who I really am, ganyan. Pagdating sa rehearsals, tahimik na ako. You know, I am so concentrated and so focused. And even during rehearsal, I'm not just there for me. I make sure that I see what's going on with all the other different characters. So, and if I know that, then I know where I am amidst the journey of the other characters. So that's something that I have instilled talaga sa akin. No? It's helped me kasi. It's helped me. So when we rehearse talaga, I'm right there. Even if it's not my scene, I'm very concentrated on the story. I'm very supportive of where the story goes and how the story goes, how I'll help to move that story. So it's been a disciplined life for me in theater, whatever I do, whether it's musical or or straight or it's that this very disciplined for me during rehearsals. And yeah, I do my own research. I have to do my own research about my own character, even if there are times now I'm very collaborative actually with my scene partners or my director, ganon. And it would be great if my director would always be, collaborative and listens to So I love the process, direct, even more so than performing. Gusto ko yun, yung discovery. I love it. I love the process very much. Hands down, Mama Rose of Gypsy.
I learned to live with laughter to stay after the tears and the laughter. After today, a man knows a moment, one wonderful moment when fate takes his hand, and this is my moment, my once in a lifetime, when I can explore new and exciting life. Just once in a lifetime, I feel like a giant, I soar like an eagle, as though I had wings. And this is my moment, my destiny calls me, and though it may be at once in a lifetime, I'm gonna do great Las ventura ma stringe il mio languir come il di
think I was lucky because, again, growing up, exposed to it. My dad had recordings, and so in addition to those rehearsals and lessons that I would see, I discovered his record collection. And then yung may malalaking picture, librettos na may mga pictures na naka-costume. Fantasyada kasi. Kaya feel ko sila, and then I followed the libretto, and I loved that I could hear the languages I was reading. So Traviata was one of the first ones, and I read it. I dove into it. Like any kid now who would watch YouTube all the time of the singers that they love. Me, I had those records. So, pakikinggan ko siya, wala pang Walkman nun. Di karayom, plaka. And I would listen and sit in front of the speaker, and wala lang. Because I had the words and the music, na feel ko yung drama niya. And then, doon ako na hook the stories and the words that they were saying, and then you hear how they were singing it, and then the emotion na, oh my God, yung orchestra pagdating sa moment na to na trahedya na umiiyak yung heroine, biglang tataas yung boses niya, and then kakanta siya ng mahina. Bakit? Kasi nababasa mo yung lyrics, nababasa mo na yung malungkot siya, tapos iniwanan siya, yung all those different nuances all together as a child is very organic. Hindi ko siya hinihiwalay. And I think that kind of all-around, exposure to the drama, the text, the music, and the diving into it and connecting to it emotionally really helped me with the performance. Kasi, in that way, I had no, even if I did not have, for example, intensive diction classes or intensive language classes about it or intensive coaching, instinctively, because I was exposed to it already and because I heard it live, I already had a good ear for languages, and the music, the riding into the music. I think that was even more important. 'Di ba? Kasi ngayon pag sabi mo, hindi mahirap maka-relate kasi yung music parang sobrang remote. If you're not exposed to it, parang sabihin mo, it's madaling nakaka-turn off, ganyan, unless you really put effort to listen and read the text. So, my early exposure really contributed to my knowledge. Kumbaga, what became stock knowledge to me, by the time I entered college, wala na. And Viva Voce was put up precisely because it's a halfway point after graduating from school and then going professional. Because walang classical music industry, basically. There's no opera season to speak of, you know. So, how do kids go from, this academic to professional, which is a totally different thing, right? I mean, that's why we appreciate so much working with directors like you know, and you ask, and then you tell us, and then you teach us, yeah, and because then we learn so much, and then we go deeper into things, and we get points of view that you otherwise would not get from an academic program, yeah. And Viva Voce is about that, dealing with stage fright, using your body freely, using your face to express the text, and giving this energy, the physical energy that your sound needs, how to prioritize beautiful singing without sacrificing the text. You know, all of this is all craft, because if you're trapped into just one aspect of it, then you will not have the full experience of a good opera performance, right? So opera is music and theater and singing. This is all together, except the discipline, I guess, it's from another period. You have to deal with historical, musical practices and traditions. That's the other aspect of it, you don't want to be pedantic or, kasi sabi sa libro but how do you make that come alive? Yeah, like for a Mozart opera, it's so easy to say, Mozart should be sung with a pure sound and this kind of floaty echoes, ganyan. Pero pag yung kumakanta ka na and you're in the depths of despair and then you have to floaty echoes na yan, paano pag sasamahin yung feeling na yon? At saka how do you convey the music na it's divine, it's ethereal, but it's also very grounded in human emotion. That's really the craft of it. That's how you should go, because then you communicate and then come up with your own. We're all drama queens at heart. We're all fashionistas at heart. We are all, you know what I mean? All of this is opera. This is all operatic in scale. You know, yung emotion ng drama, yung bonggahan ng pabonggahan ng damit, pataasan ng boses, contest tayo with the orchestra. What's not to like? This is so parang mga drama-drama. Yung ganyan, enjoy, wala. Kayang-kaya yun. What connects to me, I think, kasi romantiko ako, I'm an emotional person. So, pag kinikilig ka, pag naiiyak ka, pag nagagalit ka rin with the character, then I guess it's safe to assume that the audience will also feel the same. So, in opera, parang ako, I'm open to anything as long as, syempre, the materials is intact. Put it in a contemporary context. Put in as revolutionary a context as you want, as long as the music stays intact and as long as the thought is clear. Trial by jury, by in itself, di ba? I mean, Gilbert and Sullivan. Noon ako nabasa yung material, like, totoo ba ito?
Diba?
Totoo ba ito? Grabe direct. It was really like, ano gagawin natin dyan? And then maya-maya, yan na, you were adding all this na rin. Pwede ba to? Pwede ba to? Yes! Go direct! Go lang! Go lang! Kahit ano gawin mo dyan, pwede. And it was so much fun.
It's what we kiss, and what we cannot mention, but we know it exists in a great abundant sea. Ever could we see it? A pretty little thing like me.
Actually, I think, yeah, it would, from the beginning pa lang, even if you're working on something technically, kasi ma-justify mo lang yung technically, bakit ko ba kailangan pag-aralan yung technically? Yeah? So, pag malinaw sa'yo na, kasi ito yung kailangan kong gawin, dramatically. Sa performance, kailangan makonvey ko tong tunog na to, na umiiyak ako. For example, it's dramatic, or this note is like this. Then, I have to equip myself technically so that I can accomplish that artistic goal. It's all that performance goal, right? And so pag malinaw yun from the beginning to a young singer na darling, hindi ka pinapag-technica para lang masabi nag-aral ka ng classical. No. I couldn't care less. For me, it's a tool. All of these are tools because the end goal is the performance of these fantastic works. So kung magbibida ka, kailangan you can sing that role forwards, backwards, upside down, and inside out, yeah? And you will know yourself so that when you're in that position, whatever is demanded of you, you can deliver just like that. And that requires both all of it, your development and your maturity as a full singer, yeah? And it's your whole body that you have to know. Preparation technically gives you that confidence to play around with the drama, to let loose, kumbaga. Yun yung kailangan mong alamin technically para happy ka na pag pinakawalan ko yan and I decide na, okay, now I can really put my face, use my body, then it comes together. Good question. Coming from a country where most of the voices are light, I'm a big voiced soprano. So most of the roles that I'm at home in singing are not done here. Okay, sabihin natin, libre mangarap. Caballeria Rusticana.
Santuzza.
Yes.
Okay.
Don Carlo. Don Carlo because Eboli. I sing.
Eboli.
Yes. And then I love her because she has a lot of interpretation. Meron siyang eye patch. Tapos she's the evil, beautiful princess. Yung ganyan. And then, tapos, I did Carmen before. And, you know,
Yes.
that is, yeah. That's a treat. That's a real treat to sing. Or, ano else pa ba? Dami niyan eh. Yung mga nagtitilian sila. La Gioconda. Yeah. Turandot is not my dream. I am not a Turandot.
Really?
No, I'm not a Turandot.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes. My God. Margarita is a Turandot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But, yeah. Ano pang ilusionada role ko? Aida. Because again, I'm the contrabida princess. Amneris.
Amneris.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yan. And then, yeah, yun lang naman. Also, the voices that will sing with me, that can sing with me in those works, are also rare here. Yeah, and so, yeah, I totally. But I guess, and that's why I sing the arias. You know, I sing it by myself. I try to improve. I try to, apply what we learn new in teaching, apply to myself, just to keep abreast of it. But definitely, it has been frustrating, I have to admit.
This is not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through the back door and carves out a person who makes you believe it's all true. And now I've got you. You're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two for that girl that I knew who was reckless just enough, who gets hurt but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love. And then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, getting stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little and bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone but it used to be mine. Yeah, used to be mine.
It wasn't just me. Like, it was me, Nelsito Gomez, you know, a couple of actor friends, and we would watch opera. And I was always so fascinated more than anything about the technique, because not only the singing technique, but it's the storytelling technique. It's a different language, and it is not something that I will immediately understand, but I get anguish. Anguish is universal. Pain is universal. Joy, bliss, you know, these are universal things, and they do it so well in opera. And that is something that's always made me go, wow, you know. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite and you're how old?
I'm 32.
That's pretty impressive for 32.
Oh,
Now,
thank
tell us about your process. Tell us about your process preparing for a role.
I have this journal. I carry around a journal, and every character that I have, I try to have a separate journal. I don't know where they are. I should probably collect them. But I write down, I treat it like a diary, like my thoughts for the day. And I try to write it as my character as much as I can. And then I make playlists so that when I'm commuting to work, for example, I can listen to it, and it kind of helps me get into it. So that's it. And then it's a lot of collaboration with, especially with directors. It's really I'm also very fortunate that all the directors I've worked with are highly collaborative. You know, it was never go here, look there, go here, look there. It was always, so what do you think? They always they always throw the question back at me. So I'm always very grateful about that. And the scene work is always about trying to find the truth. It's never been about how am I going to carry this role. It's always been about how is my role going to contribute to the story. That's always been the thing that I loved about musical theater, actually. It was never just about one person. Over the years, I also realized that sometimes when you push too much, that's when it goes crazy. You know, that as much as it's great to give everything you've got for every performance, you also have to be smart about it. So conserving energy backstage, that's one. Conserving energy when you're not working, that's two. And also it's I think it was Menchu Lauchenko Yulo who taught me this. You know, when we're supposed to carry a certain degree of emotion, you also have to realize that you're a professional. So you have to reserve yourself also. You have to put some in the tank for the truly great ones. Know when to put some in the tank so that they have more during the next performance. So I guess it's building that reserve of energy and that reserve of emotion, I suppose. So yeah, it's... Honestly, I started out as a musical theater actor because that's the thing, my crutch, not my crutch, but it is something that I leaned on, the singing. But honestly, if we're talking about process, I love doing straight plays. I think it was, I'm not sure. I think it was Ana Abad Santos. She was my teacher at one point, and she said, the tricky thing about either her or Jaime Del Mundo was the one who said this, but
Say
the
it in
tricky
Anna's
thing,
voice. You were starting
yeah,
already.
oh God, yeah, that's kidding. It's a, it's the challenge with musical theater. The challenge with straight plays is that musical theater, you have to build up this segment with no music, right, and then explode within the music when the music comes. But for straight plays, there's no music, so you gotta write it. You gotta write your music as you study the scenes, as you study your lines, as you study your characters. So there are characters that I've played that in my head sounded like a rock song. And there are characters that are just completely quiet. So it's just all. That's my favorite thing about doing straight plays. And in general, acting in theater, in general, it's building that story, that imagined creative space in your head, and then somehow channeling all of that information into one performance. So. I grew up in Navotas. I grew up in a poor community in Navotas, and doon ko siya nakuha. So it's my classmates. I got it from my classmates, our neighbors. All these people that as actors, di ba, meron tayong naiimpok sa isip natin na parang ito parang si to, parang si Aling ganito, si Aling ganyan. And tuwan-tuwa ako na doon siya nanggagaling, and I've always been proud of where I come from, and I'm so happy that I can actually say na nagagamit ko siya sa trabaho. So doon siya
would you like to do more Filipino musicals? Of course.
Absolutely. I am in love with the language itself. I've been in love with the language since taking Filipino classes when I was still a student. And siya, talagang dun nabuo yung pagkabata ko eh. Like yung mga laro sa kanto, and then just to see it also in an academic setting, diba? The mga talinghaga and all that, right? And then you also see it in musicals. You see it in plays like Rak or like Himala, It is something that I have always wanted to be a part of. Like kung Tagalog siya, game na game lagi ako. Kung merong ganong pagkakataon, I want to. Just because the language itself is beautiful and moving, and it has degrees of emotion that not other languages don't quite have. So it's definitely something that I love. I would love to do. Most of the time when I dealt with difficult things, I suppose, in my life, I always had the okay, so I have this idea na parang wala ka na magagawa eh. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna have to deal with it. It's either you deal with it, lugmok na lugmok ha, or you try to get back up. I mean, I know it sounds super cliche, but that's also how I grew up. My mother was a lot like that. My grandma was a lot like that. The matriarchs in my family actually is who I got it from, and it's this. I wouldn't say fighting spirit. It's more coping spirit, I believe. It's you at the end of the day, when the world seems like it's falling apart, it still keeps going after that. So you have to keep going.
I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. I wanna be in the room where it happens. I wanna be. And close your eyes. We want to lead us to save the day. And we don't get to say what they trade away. We dream of a brand new start. Now, but we dream in the dark for the most part. Dark as a tomb where it happens. I've got to be in
always see like a journey of an actor in the theater industry is continuous. I don't think it ever ends after one production. You also build connections. You build friendships. You build friendships that last a lifetime. So the way I deal with actors, especially I deal a lot with students. I always think to myself, okay, I am the first gatekeeper that these people are going to meet, probably. So I want them to, number one, be welcome, that we are not an exclusive society, and number two, I also want to let these people know, and I have this awareness that whatever I teach, whatever I do, they're going to carry it for the next 10, 20 years of their lives. That is the way I've always dealt with it. I want it to be a lasting impression because that's what they experienced in putting up the show.
Police station, dapat magbuhay yung mga walang yun. Hospital, dapat kailangan ni-join ng doktor. Hindi ka nakinig sa akin. Ayaw nga niya eh. Oh, lumalayo na. Anong nangyari dito? Sino sa atin ang nagbago? Maglakbay sa simula.
I never made this world, I didn't even lose it. And I know no one said it was fair. But they had a garden once, they had the chance to choose it. They gave it away, including my share. And now we're lost in the wilderness, lost crying in the wilderness. And if anyone's watching, it seems they couldn't care less. We're lost in the wilderness.
Are you getting married soon?
Yes, I am. Next
You
year.
are na.
Yes, next year, October 2022. Yeah.
Okay, so the reality that you'll have to work and support a family, how is that hitting you? And how is that's not changing your life choices?
Yeah. That's a great question. It is not it's not a secret that doing this will not 100% sustain you, right? So for me, it's all the side jobs as well, the hosting gigs, because I've been hosting since 2007, voice acting since 2007. And now that I'm into content creation, I'm also hoping to expand that. If ever there is a long-term plan, it's really to put up a business. That's really how I see my future playing out. And of course, the utopian dream is to create a space, especially for young artists, to explore their craft. That's really what I want to do. It's like a hub for, I don't know if it's going to be a physical school or anything like that, especially with, digital being such a huge thing.
Yes.
I want to create a space for actors to feel free to fall flat on their face. It's this whole philosophy of you gotta love failing, because that's the only way you're gonna get to the I suppose right choices, is to keep failing.
The right choice.
All we see is light for forever, 'cause the sun shines bright for forever. Like we'll be alright for forever this way. Two friends on a perfect.
Name one musical you would love to be in and one character you would love to be in. And if you say Evan Hansen, I'll say I know this boy very well.
Of course, I would love to play Evan Hansen. But if we're talking about foreign, I would love to do Usnavi in the Heights, and Aaron Burr from Hamilton. Those are the two for me, and of course Evan Hansen. But if we're talking about Filipino, dear, I wanna do Bobby in the Kundiman Party. That's one. I love that show, by the way.
Thank you.
Just so you know, it's my favorite Filipino play. And if it's a Filipino musical, I know suntok sa buwan to, but I wanna play Tolits in Rock of Ages. Well, first of all, for me, I was very afraid of my creativity dying. That's it. I don't know if it ever dies. I don't think it ever does. But I was very, very paranoid that if I treat it like a muscle, that if I don't work this muscle out, it's going to atrophy. You know, if hindi ko siya if wala akong ginawa na something creative, I feel like I am going to feel so small when I come back. You know, so it's really that. I jumped, you know, head first. I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's just try it. The harm in not trying is that what I just mentioned. But really, what's the harm in trying? That's also an uncharted thing for me. So I wanted to give it a shot. You know, I wanted to give it a go. And yeah, here we are.
Kay bilis maglaho ng kahapon.
Pare ko, meron akong problema. Huwag mo sabihin na naman. In love ako. Pasigaw si Aling Nena. Ako naman ay parang nakuryenteng pusa. Ngunit natanggal ang hiya nang makita ko na nakatawa ang dalaga. Panay ang sorry ko sa pagmamadali. Nakalimutan pa ang sukli ko. Pagdating sa bahay, nagalit si nanay. Pero oks lang ako ay inlababo ng tunay. Tindahan ni Aling Nena, parang isang kwentong pampelikula.
How I wish I can act and move and dance on stage like a musical singer and still maintain that energy and a character from beginning to end. I really admire that. I'm first and foremost a singer and then an actor. Well, the very first one was really special. Not only because it was my first, but it was also with Rolando Tino, our national artist. It was his own adaptation of La Boheme. So, of course, we did it in Tagalog, but we learned it in Italian first, the whole thing, and then we learned it in Tagalog and translated it, and that whole process was amazing. I learned so much. I mean, Rolando Tino directed it. So he worked with all of us individually. And it was like he also wanted the character to fit our personality. So that was an amazing experience for me. That was my first. So I really feel so blessed to have that, my first opera production with Rolando Tino. And at the CCP main theater kaagad, and the people, I really felt everything, all the words that I said, you know, I understood. And compared to if I would sing it in Italian, I don't really speak Italian, so I have to study every word. I have to translate it, and I have to memorize it. The way I learn foreign languages pa naman is phonetic. You know, because I only speak two languages, Tagalog and English. So Italian, French, German, I really had to learn and translate it. So I was also lucky that for my first role, I had to perform it in Tagalog.
Okay. What about the after that? Would you agree that the Liu in the Vienna production of Turandot? Can you tell us about that also?
Of course, it was terrifying. But so I had to prepare myself for that. I had to really be steeped in the culture. You know, it's a culture that's foreign to us. It's a language that's foreign to us, to me. So that took more work for me. I spent 3 months in Vienna to do some vocal coaching. we had to rehearse around 2 months before the opening night. I was sharing my role. There were two casts, so I didn't do the opening night, so I had more time. But it was nerve wracking because after that series of rehearsals, rehearsals, and then on stage, opening night. It was the other cast, the first cast. I was the guest soprano eh.
From the Romance languages, you had to learn Russian for Onegin.
What I remember direct from that was sleeping with the score and waking up reading the score because I was so afraid na it won't sink in. We didn't have a coach, so I had to go to the
Embassy.
the Russian ambassador's wife to coach me the whole role in one afternoon. So it was really just to make sure I learned my Russian correct. But in a perfect world, we would have a Russian coach. Who
In
would
6 months.
yes,
In 6
and,
months.
and to really teach us the right inflection, the right feeling. Most of the roles I did were light roles, comic, and then suddenly the serious role. So I
Yeah.
was really dealing with a lot of things then.
Okay.
But it was the music that really
Yes,
that's
we have beautiful music.
so beautiful,
True.
Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky.
That's a dream role, Tatiana. And I'm just, of course, that time I gusto ko na itapon yung score. But now, looking back, I'm
You'd
so
love.
thankful because, I can say, I did Tatiana. It
Yes.
was,
Do you feel that there are roles that you would like to do again because now you understand what the character is really all about, or you think you can bring something new to the character?
yes, Violetta.
Okay, why?
It's such a mature role, not
Uh-huh.
just the character but also the voice. And I felt that time when I did that, and that was the first time and only time I did it, I felt I was not really prepared, and I would have done things differently now. um when was that, direct? 2012?
Oh no. Janice when? Oh, anyway.
Almost a decade ago. From that time up to now, we never stop learning, direct. Even me, as a singer, I still learn new things. After I met Pyongin, sometimes I would tell him, why did we meet? so late. I learned a lot from him also. Oh, di ba? I wish I knew him before Traviata kasi siya yung magko-coach sa akin. Yun pala yun. So, my first international opera na professional production was in Singapore. So I can say I really started my international opera career in Singapore. And then my last production with them was Così fan tutte, where I met my husband Byung-in. Because after that, nag-Maria Clara pa ako in Noli Me Tangere.
Yeah.
We were already married for a month, but it was a private wedding kasi the public wedding was October 4. It was already set, but we wanted to have a private wedding na before that. And in between the private wedding and the public wedding was Noli Me Tangere. And so of course we were already together, we were already married secretly because people didn't know, only our family. So, I didn't know I was pregnant na while I was doing Maria Clara. I understood love naman then, but of course not as much as I understand it now. But I was talking more about my technique.
Okay.
Yes, parang I would have done more justice to Verdi. Well, I started as a coloratura, but those were lyric roles. Well, Rosina is a lyric coloratura. But Traviata is more lyric role.
Yes.
In fact, that E flat, that's not really written there. That high E flat. So the lighter voices would do that, but because the sopranos who would do Violetta ranges from coloratura to lyric actually. So the coloratura sopranos would hit that E flat, that last note of the
Act 1.
aria, the first aria, but it's not really written. So the lyric sopranos, you don't have to sing that E flat, but I did. Because I felt it was expected. And thank goodness, I survived that. I'm so proud of that direct, not only because it's so close to my heart, because my first love really is kundiman, and of course, Filipino art songs.
Yaring aking Kailangan sa puso ko iyong isang maging
My father
Yes, your father had just passed away.
passed away a day, just the day after our last show, because we did 3 shows, remember, Direct?
Yeah.
No, but my gosh, that taught me a lot also, Direct. What we performing artists have to sacrifice, you know. Yun yung definition talaga sa akin ng the show must go on. Remember, Direct? I think, was it you who told everybody in the staff, do not talk to Rachelle?
I remember it.
Kay hiwaga ng mag-ibig na dulot mo. Kasalanan ko'y nilimot ng totoo. Sa kabila ng ginawa ko, ako'y mahal na mahal mo. May higit pa ba sa pag-ibig mo?
And you were really breaking down. I remember that third beautiful performance of Kundi Man ang Langit. So beautiful.
That was
So
the
sweet. Yeah.
thing I had to do, you know, because kundi man ang langit, you know, the words are really wrenching.
Sapol.
Sapol, talagang hugot, and you know, I was trying my best not to think about my father that time, because I'm just gonna break down and cry, and it's gonna be about me, which the show is not, you know. It's so, and then right after that is sa kabukiran.
Correct. Di ba?
What would happen every time those 3 shows, right after Kundi Man ang Langit, change costume.
Yes. Luka-lukahan. Diana Ross Wig.
Pag nagunat ay lilipad, papagakpak ang mga pakpak at uhuling. Kiring, 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 pag napagod, haring-hingan.
Minamahal, at nasa iyo ang tanging pag-asa. Asahan mo, dalangin ko, Trina. Minamahal kita.
Simply because it's beautiful, it's ours, it's our own, and we should be proud of it. But first of all, you know, especially now, the young generation now, they should be reminded of that we have this to be proud of, you know, and it's our own, hindi natin hiniram, it's our own, we should be proud of it. So we have to propagate it. You know, I want to really promote Kundi Man, not just to the youth Filipinos, but to the whole world. Yes, I of course depende sa student. Pag I like it. I like imparting my experience and knowledge. And I love it that I see results,
Yeah.
that, oh, it really works, And I like it that my students are happy, because my students are I have a wide range of students. There are, of course, classical singers, aspiring opera singers. There are also full-time moms who want to learn to sing, and I have some musical theater students also. I'm more fulfilled, direct. You know, not a lot of people know this. Even some of my friends are surprised to know that I've always wanted to have a family. I've always wanted to be a homemaker. And feeling ko, yung career ko, humaba lang siya ng humaba because I'm just waiting for for the right person to come into my life. And it's funny because parang nag full circle ako.
Dream role. Dream role.
Dream role.
Yes.
I'm living it.
Okay.
I am playing the most difficult role ever. And nothing prepared me for this. At least with all the operas that I did, I had help preparing, but not for motherhood.